Hello and welcome to our podcast, The Audacity of Adulting. I'm your host, Jaira.
And I'm your host, Lynn.
And today we'll be talking about cooking as a millennial.
I love this episode because I love cooking.
I love food.
So, as always, every podcast episode, we will be sipping on something yummy. And today we have made Nutella hot chocolates. This was a last minute decision. We were like, what should we make? Should we drink alcohol? Should we...
we didn't know what to do.
Drink water? I don't know, but I thought that it'd be yummy to have something warm. It's still quite cold right now. So this is literally Nutella in hot water with cream on top, and then we put whipped cream and one jumbo marshmallow. So it's going to be really yummy. If you have any drink recommendations for us, make sure to leave it down below. If you're on YouTube, if you're on... trying to nibble on the marshmallow. If you're on, or if you're listening to us on Anchor or Spotify, you can always DM us on social media and let us know what you want us to drink, and we'll put it on our list and also give you a shout out. So, cheers.
Cheers.
I think I'll try my whipped cream.
Yo, that's actually really good. Bruh.
Yeah.
Dang. She made this and she didn't think it was going to taste good. So
I had no recipe for it. I literally took scoops of Nutella and melted it in hot water. And then put cream on top.
Cooking is also an experiment.
And then I put it in a cup and I was like, all right, if it doesn't taste good, pretend it tastes good. If it tastes good, it tastes good.
Bro, it tastes bomb. We should probably do the episode now.
So as always, we have an outline for our episode. So basically, we talk about what we see in the media regarding our topic and the influences around that. The second part is we talk about our own views, how we feel it affects us. And then the third is we basically do an outro and kind of predict what we feel is coming down the line in regards to the topic, or
Just
if
a conclusion.
or what we see in the future, like an ongoing trend. And yeah, I guess we will get started on cooking as a millennial. I think I came up with this topic for the most part.
Yeah, you did.
But I was really excited to talk about this because, cooking is something that I'm actually very passionate about. I was very excited when I first moved out of my parents' house to start cooking. I mean, my mom did let me cook, but honestly, it's just so nice to have your own kitchen to do stuff yourself and to buy all your ingredients, just keep track of your inventory and everything and try out new things. So I was very, very excited, and I really like that Jaira and I have different perspectives in a way because...
And we're in different situations
yeah,
also.
we're in different situations because then, I cook because I have to cook. So basically, it's my husband and I living at home together, and if I don't cook because my husband doesn't cook, then we either get takeout or fast food or heat up something frozen. Yeah, like a frozen pre-made meal. So I have to cook. So it's like a balance between leisure and not spending a lot of money and not starving.
Yeah.
But I think with Jaira is, not that her dad cooks all the time, but she still has that luxury of,
There's food at home.
Yeah, there's food at home. Her dad makes dishes. In the summer he barbecues. We always enjoy barbecue when we go to Jaira's place. And he makes Filipino dishes. So then it's she does have that, opportunity to look in the fridge. And sometimes there being already food there. So she could just heat it up, eat it, and then, call it a day, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with me, it's I look in the fridge and there's nothing there. I got to do something about it. I got to be proactive because I'm the cook.
Yeah.
Right? And, I don't have a choice. Again, it's do I get fast food and eat something unhealthy? Do I get takeout and spend a crazy amount of money on Uber Eats? I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. And thinking about, everybody all over the world and how they cook and how they navigate, eating takeout, fast food, all of that stuff is very interesting. I think with this day and age, for myself, I am a content creator who focuses on cooking food and kitchen tips and everything. So I understand the influence of it. I'm scrolling through TikTok, I'm scrolling through Instagram, and I see videos of, simple recipes, healthy recipes.
Mm-hmm.
And, I obviously save it and try to make it myself. And same goes for the videos I make. I hope people will save it and make it themselves too. But not everybody has that luxury. You know, every person in the world, especially as an early adult, like Jaira said, they're in different situations. And, you know, while you're navigating adulting, you're also navigating so many important things and basic life skills like cooking and cleaning that you might have not done when you were living with your parents or like living with your guardians, right? Like for the most part, I think a lot of people get...
Because like they do that for you.
Yeah, get their
and you
chores
don't,
taken care of.
Yeah, and you don't have to clean up yourself.
Yeah.
It's their kitchen, so they're the ones who's going to be the ones cleaning and cooking. Yeah. So you don't really have the space and time to do it yourself.
Yeah, and like as a child, like you're not really expected to do it, you know, like a full-time job. With like people that live outside of their house, it is kind of a full-time job at the same time because, you know, you want to maintain your house, you want to maintain your kitchen, and, you know, it's just not acceptable to just live in a mess all the time. And, you know, I know time gets away from you. I, too, am a messy person. Like, you know, I admit that. Like, I am messy. I feel like I have 100 million things on the go. Or is that a number? I don't know.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just a navigating it and knowing or like learning along the way while you're trying to figure out like how to adult. Cooking plays a huge part of it. My individual opinion, what happened when I moved out, basically my mom is a great cook. She cooks all the time. Her foods are very yummy. Every time I go to her house, I pack some stuff up from my house. But I never realized like the value of cooking from start to finish. And, you know, Jaira and I actually, we hung out with our cousins, and our cousin's husband actually made a really good point where it's like, if you actually broke down how much everything costs, like the electricity to like turn on the stove, the ingredients, your
gas
time
to buy, or the gas to travel from
to go to
your
grocery
place,
store, the time it takes to cook a dish from start to finish, you know, meal prepping it, leftovers, storing your food, all that stuff. It's actually a lot more expensive than if you were to just buy from
and take out.
Yeah, from a store like on your way home from work and have that dish ready. It's just for your consumption and, you know, little to like no cleanup. And it was actually very interesting to talk to him about it because I actually didn't see it from that perspective. I totally forgot about electricity, you know, the time it takes and all that. I mean, no, I did know the time it takes, but like seeing it like itemized. Yeah, exactly. It was just like really surprising to me, and I thought I would bring that up because it was such a good point. For me, it's always a toss-up because I love to cook, but obviously like any human being, when you're told to do something, you want to run in the opposite direction. Yeah. Nobody loves being told what to do. Nobody loves being forced what to do. And, you know, sometimes when you're living alone, like you're honestly like forced to like cook and stuff, right? Because you don't want to blow all your money on, you know, takeout and stuff like that because it does add up, right? How much is Uber Eats on service fees and
$5.
tips? Yeah.
Pay $20 for a burger.
Yeah, and it's like one meal, right? Whereas when you cook, like you can buy all the ingredients and kind of make it more in bulk so that you can take it for the rest of the week.
Yeah, like that's meal prep. Goes along with meal prep.
But at the same time, like I do struggle with having to do it all the time because I cook out of passion. I do love to cook. I love to try out new ingredients. But then when you're like forcing me to do it, I'm like, nope. And honestly, cooking at home is like a lot healthier as well because you get to control your ingredients. Whereas like in a restaurant, it could be super, super yummy. But like
you don't really know what they're putting in there.
Like, how do you know? How do they put? They probably put like 3 cups of oil. How would you know that, right? So I just like love talking about this topic, and I find it also interesting because, you know, with us growing up, I feel like I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but I actually saw a TikTok on like a girl talking about how even though there was food at home, she would have to smuggle fast food into her room. Because her parents would always
be like, why you spend your money on that?
Yeah, would say something about it. Like she used to bring like food home after work, like something she would enjoy and like to eat. And her parents would be like, you know, there's food at home. Like, why do you spend your money and all that stuff? And I just thought it was so funny because actually I feel the same. There would be times where I obviously would crave something that's not something my mom cooks, right? Because my mom cooks mostly Filipino dishes, and I do love like an assortment of cultures when it comes to food. And I'd always come home and she'd be like, oh, like this tastes bad, like oh blah blah blah, like say something to say something. And I feel like that's like a lot of like parent child relationships.
Yeah.
Like in reality, if you were not living with your parents, it is way more cost efficient, time efficient.
And
to get takeout, right? Like consider it like this. If you were to make a bowl of pho from scratch at home, you'd have to buy like
literally everything.
Yeah, 8 different kinds of spices. You'd have to boil it for 8 hours because the best pho is boiled for 8 hours minimally. And then you'd have to buy the noodle, the beef, and all that stuff to enjoy one bowl of pho. Whereas when you get it from the restaurant, it's like what, maximum $15 a bowl?
Yeah, it's $15, and you already have a serving for you.
Yeah, exactly. And like I think in the long term, it might be good because you'll have leftovers, so you will save a little bit of money. But it's like,
but the time, you can't take back the time that you made.
And if you're just craving that one bowl, you're craving that one bowl. Like, what if you make a big batch and you're only one person, and then you say, oh, I'm gonna eat it later?
Yeah, you're not really gonna end up eating it later.
Yeah, it's gonna go to waste. Like, I am a big culprit of like wasting food. I hate that I have to say this out loud, but it's reality. I do waste my food because I do cook a lot, obviously, and sometimes it's like
you don't really want to eat it after
eat that anymore, right? Like you can stuff it in the freezer and eat it on a later day, but
it's not the same.
Not the same. Yeah, exactly. I kind of give it all to my mom. It's like, Mom, do you want this chicken broth? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Clear out my freezer and give it to her. But I mean, that's not always the case for people. And yeah, it's just so funny how people get flack for getting takeout all the time, and then people get flack for like spending all this money to cook more things. But in reality, it's like, I don't know. To me, if I did not have my husband, like I was only feeding myself, oh my God, I would get takeout like every day. I would get takeout every day. Or I would like, if I wanted to eat something, I would like call up my family and be like, hey, do you want to do a hot pot night? And like buy like, split it or like buy a few ingredients for it. But it's like, if you're doing it all by yourself, it is just not worth it.
Yeah, for me, I love to cook because I want to. Like I do have a passion for cooking, but I also do takeout because I just want to have the food, or like I'm craving like Taco Bell or McDonald's, and I just want to get that. But at the same time, when I cook, I'm usually cooking for me, my dad, and my brother. So it just depends on the dish and what I need to get for the ingredients. Like I wouldn't want to spend a lot of money for a lot of ingredients. So I try to make it so it's just feeding for 3 or 4 people.
Yeah, and that makes sense too. When you have like a little bit more people, I feel like whenever you go to the grocery store, they'll always say like, oh, this price is for like bundles of 2. Or like, you'll get one thing of spices, right? And then you only need like 3 pieces of like bay leaf or something, and then you keep it in your cabinet or pantry for a long time, and it's like,
when am I ever gonna use that?
Yeah,
and that's $5 for like a spice that you just used once.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just interesting to like really break down the cost. I don't know if a lot of people do that, and I certainly did not. But like, when you're talking to our cousin's husband, like, he made such a good point, and I wanted to bring that up because it was just, it was mind blowing thinking about like, oh yeah, like, how much I pay for electricity and my time.
The equivalent, like the takeout is equivalent to how much you're going to be putting into the dish that you're making.
And, don't get me wrong, I love takeout, and, I do get takeout often. I'd say a few times a week just to kind of switch up our meals. But for the most part, our lunches are always from home or like something that I cook. And then, we'll get takeout like once or twice a week, just to change it up, not get sick of the food, not, get so tired from cooking and preparing. I honestly laugh at this topic all the time because I think about it in like different scenarios and how like people's different like living arrangements.
And their perspective also.
Yeah.
It's going to change with how their situation is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people live very differently. If I were to compare my lifestyle to everybody else's, it's different. For me, I prioritize food for the most part. So I actually told this to Jaira, but like I will wear my same clothes for like 5 years and not change it out until it's like ratty and old and I can move the outside clothes to pajamas. But when it comes to spending on food, I will splurge and like get something that I enjoy.
Yeah.
So I think it's also like the budgeting aspect, and it's like, you know, what is more important to you? Do you find that your clothing is more important to you and food is just, you know, a necessity? You can live off whatever. Do you find that you want to save money on food but go traveling? Do you want to spend more on food and less on this?
Yeah.
You know, so it's a budgeting thing.
Yeah, and for me with the budgeting thing, I struggle with getting takeout when there is actually food at home. And I tell myself that I should actually, I mean, there is food at home. I mean, at this age, like I want to save more money. And
Totally.
I need to change my mindset to there's food at home. I don't need to go out and buy this stuff. But at the same time, I want to buy it.
I mean, they make it so easy too, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like Amazon. You go onto your phone, you go onto Uber Eats, skip the dishes, whatever. You literally click what you want, few clicks, order now. It's there at your doorstep in like 30 to 45
and that's
minutes.
what's like dangerous too. Because like you literally the click of a button, you'll get your food.
Yeah, totally. But I also want to bring the last fact before we kind of tie in. But I think it's very interesting that there's a lot of meal subscription services.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're ever on YouTube, I don't know how many times HelloFresh plays as an ad on YouTube.
Yeah,
right?
every video, there's always going to be like, oh, you can get this food and it'll be to your doorstep.
Yeah.
You can figure out which one you want for what dinner day or something.
Yeah, and I have got a meal subscription before to try it. I think I did Chef's Play, I think, a few months back, maybe in the summer. And I did really like the food. It was really, really yummy, but it was a lot of work. It was portioned out. I felt like there was so much packaging, all the little sauces and spices, the vegetables, the meat. So there was just like a lot of packaging for one meal.
Yeah, and that's garbage consumption too.
Yeah, and I didn't really love that. And then also, like, if I felt a little bit more hungry, there wasn't enough to like sustain me. So I would have to resort to like, you know, whatever was in my pantry because I skipped getting groceries that week. So then it'd be like, yeah, after my Chef's Plate meal, I'm gonna have some chips. Which was not good. But I think that the meal subscription services are actually very helpful for people who are afraid of cooking.
Yeah.
So cooking can definitely get overwhelming for people, but with those meal subscriptions,
It helps them cook.
Yeah, you get to decide what dishes you want every week. You get a meal card that tells you exactly what to do, and you get a fresh meal that, you know, you worked hard to cook, and it tastes awesome because, you know,
And it's pre put together.
Yeah, they're like guaranteed deliciousness.
Yeah.
Almost, right? Because you get to pick it, you know what's in it kind of thing, right? It's not like takeout. You kind of have to guess sometimes if you want to try something new.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really like the meal subscription services. I don't find that they work well for me because, I like to take my leftovers from dinner for lunch the next day. I pack my husband lunch every day. I work from home, so I eat lunch every day too. And it just sucks that I would have to cook dinner and then I have to cook lunch or like cook something for lunch or whatever, you know, or I would meal prep on Sunday and then eat the same thing all week, which was not fun.
Yeah, I like actually learning how to cook the meal. So I like watching a YouTube video and trying to figure it out myself rather than have everything in front of me and just put it together.
Yeah, I think it's just the cost of ingredients for the most part.
Yeah.
That's like crazy. I guess that kind of summarizes our episode. We wanted to do a lighthearted episode because we both bond over food and cooking. Like whenever Jaira and I are together, we literally like pig out and like
Ooh, what are we gonna eat this weekend?
Yeah, we plan out our meals. Like, okay, should we get dim sum? Should we do Korean barbecue? Should we do a hot pot?
All the good stuff.
Yeah, so that's definitely something we bond over, and I just want to talk about just because we have different opinions, different perspectives, and it's just a fun topic. But
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching if you're on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify or Anchor, thank you so much. Follow us on all our social medias. That'll be linked down below on YouTube. And you can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, and follow us on Spotify. Stay tuned for the next episode. And
One thing, if anybody has any podcast topics that they want us to talk about, we are welcome to suggestions. We do have a list that we love, but there's always room to add in more. So just let us know in any of our DMs or any of the comments for YouTube.
yep. Well, thank you. Stay tuned for the next episode. And cheers to food.
Cheers to food.
What the freak? Okay. Bye.